The anniversary trip to the Bahamas felt off. Emma, my wife of 15 years, had been distant in the weeks leading up to it. The usual excitement, packing, planning, even picking the right shade of sunscreen, had been replaced by a heavy silence, broken only by curt replies and the constant tapping of her phone. I chalked it up to stress. Both of us had been juggling long hours, kids' activities, and the pressures of maintaining our lifestyle. Or so I thought. In the Bahamas, unease only grew. While I marveled at the turquoise waters and pristine beaches, Emma remained glued to her phone. Her eyes darted nervously whenever I got too close. Any attempts to rekindle our connection, romantic walks, candlelit dinners, were met with polite smiles and fleeting touches. It felt like she was going through the motions, but her heart was elsewhere. A growing suspicion gnawed at me. It wasn't a sudden realization, but a creeping dread, slowly solidifying with every unanswered question and each moment of distance. By the time we were packing to return home, I felt the weight of it all. Emma, typically so meticulous, rushed through her packing in a haphazard frenzy, her clothes carelessly stuffed into her suitcase. But it was the small, worn leather satchel she carried so carefully, kept separate from the rest, that caught my attention. The flight back was agonizing. Emma stared out the window, silent and unreadable. I felt a sense of dread settle deep in my chest, an undeniable feeling that something was terribly wrong. We landed late, drained and emotionally exhausted. The house was quiet, the kids already asleep. We went straight to bed, the tension between us thick and unspoken. I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, my mind racing with questions I was too afraid to ask. The next morning, Emma left early for work, citing the need to catch up on emails. I decided to take a day off to be with the kids. While they were at school, I began cleaning the guest room, untouched since our return. As I moved a pile of shirts, a small, almost imperceptible tear in Emma's suitcase lining caught my eye. My heart raced as I gently reached inside. My fingers brushed against something soft. A small silk scarf, vibrant emerald green, embroidered with a delicate pattern, fell into my hands. It was the kind of scarf a woman might wear for a special occasion, but it wasn't Emma's. The faint scent of expensive perfume wafted from it, nothing I recognized. My blood ran cold as I unwrapped the scarf. In the corner, nearly hidden, was a single embroidered initial, J. Panic gripped me. I searched the suitcase further, finding more damning evidence. A receipt from a high-end jewelry store, a crumpled photograph of Emma smiling with a man I didn't recognize, his smile one of unnerving arrogance.
It was clear now.
Emma had been having an affair. The truth, once a distant whisper, was now a brutal reality. The pain hit like a physical force, crushing my chest. The years of shared memories, the trust, the life we had built, it all shattered. Anger simmered inside me, but as I held that scarf, the photograph, and the receipt, it flared into something almost overwhelming. I spent the rest of the day in a numb haze, watching the kids, feeling not just for myself, but for them too. Their mother's betrayal would taint their innocence forever. The next days were a blur. I did my best to keep up the appearance of normalcy, but inside, the storm raged. Each night, I sat alone, staring at the photographs, the receipts, reminders of her betrayal. The emerald green scarf became an emblem of my hurt and her deception. The confrontation came a week later. Emma came home late, faintly smelling of the same perfume I had found on the scarf. I was waiting for her, the photograph in my hand. The look in my eyes must have said it all. "Emma," I said quietly, my voice controlled but icy. "We need to talk." She froze. Her confident facade crumbled as I laid out the evidence, each piece a carefully aimed blow. She denied it at first. Her eyes flickered nervously, her voice shaky, but the truth was clear. Her weak justifications, "He was just a friend. It didn't mean anything. It was a mistake," fell flat, hollow and unconvincing. My rage erupted, not in a fit of shouting, but in a cold, calculated fury. I recounted the years of dedication, the sacrifices we'd both made, the dreams we'd shared, how all of it had been shattered by her selfishness. "How could you?" I shouted, my voice filled with pain and disbelief. The dam burst. The words poured out, raw and unrelenting. Emma cried, but not from remorse. She cried because the weight of her guilt had finally come crashing down. Her pleas for forgiveness were met with silence. I could not forgive her. I simply couldn't. The aftermath was devastating for her. The life she had taken for granted collapsed. I filed for divorce, and in the ensuing battle, she lost everything: the house, the car, her savings. More than that, she lost her children's respect and her reputation in the community. Her affair became the talk of the town, the whispers of her betrayal following her like a dark shadow. The man, Jay, was a wealthy businessman, married with no intentions of leaving his wife. In the end, Emma was left with nothing but the weight of her choices and the bitter taste of betrayal. My healing was slow and painful. I focused on my children, providing them the love and support they needed. It wasn't easy, but as I rebuilt my life, I found a peace more profound than anything I had experienced in my marriage. The satisfaction didn't come from Emma's downfall, but from the quiet strength I discovered in myself. I was able to protect my children from the fallout of her actions, and in that, I found true resilience. The emerald green scarf remained, a symbol not just of her deceit, but of my own resilience. It was a reminder of the life she destroyed and the one I painstakingly rebuilt, stronger and more purposeful than ever before.